Welcome, Aries. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Emma. Let's start the reading.
Email, spend money, sex. Somebody could find themselves having sex in the car this weekend. We got quickie also, which kind of fits with that too. Maybe being propositioned for sex in the car, something, doesn't mean you actually go through with it. I don't know, something. That was the first thing that popped in. Anyway, with the cards, we're starting with the Four of Wands, which is, I believe, the same card we started with last week, for last week's reading. So maybe we're, surrounded by some of the same energy, this energy of, mates and things, feeling like home, or energetic connections, feeling like home, feeling familiar, masculines waking up, coming forward, things like that. People remodeling, people moving, people redecorating, people just entering commitments and contracts and things that are making them happy. You see trees, but still progress for us. And, there's more evidence of that right there with the Ace of Pentacles. So speaking of the masculine coming forward, some of the energy that I've been feeling and some of the dreams I've been having, 17, I was in this funky twin flame group. I never felt comfortable in there. I always felt like the other people, and I'm putting people in air quotes, that the other people in there, completely human either, but that they were like fallen angels, or like descendants of fallen angels. Anyway, it was supposed to be a group of basically divine feminine, for the most part. It was women that were in this group. And a lot of the masculine, in the runner-chaser dynamic of twin flames, divine counterparts, masculine, a lot of people had like broken up with their man or whatever, or he had gone silent and stuff like that. Now, I was dealing with a Scorpio at the time. And this is what's funny to me now in present day. He had a Virgo moon, and I never made the connection. I talked about how Virgos behave last week. I used my son as an example, or the other day when I did a reading. So now maybe it was a combination of both Scorpio and Virgo. But in any case, he would retreat, right? That's what Scorpios do. They go under. Like one of my best friends is Scorpio. My mom's a Scorpio. My daughter's a Scorpio. So they tend to go silent, and I know them like that, and I get that. So he had gone silent, but somebody had predicted that there was going to be a return of the masculine by that the Valentine's Day. I watched a reading, and I don't normally watch readings or read for myself, which is something else that people that have been watching me for a long time would know. I just will point out that the Six of Wands is now our overall energy, and it's now upright, whereas it was in reverse before. Behind it is the Nine of Swords, also upright, and the Ace of Swords, delayed. Where it comes to relationships, sometimes the Ace of Swords can be about you being attracted with somebody with whom you feel kind of mismatched, like we're too different, we're vastly different, and how's this going to work? But then, so maybe that's what you're paranoid about. How can I get this relationship to work? One of the things you need to realize is that you don't get the relationship to work. Like if you're meant to be, if it's really destined, yes, you have to put effort into it. But, the universe is doing this for, like Jesus take the wheel. When you see the Wheel of Fortune, for example, and the wheel is turning in your favor and you're ending up in a place of victory like this. I think this is reminding me of the Wheel of Fortune, this, wreath here. It's like Jesus take the wheel, and that's what the Wheel of Fortune kind of is. It's like God take the wheel, universe take the wheel, and they are doing that. They're taking over, and it's sort of out of your hands. All the major arcana cards for me are like karmic energies. So it's like they're taking over, and they're going to put you in the place that you need to be, give you the information, the clarity that you need to figure out how we can make it work, even though we're different. I mean, I know people, I have another friend named Mariama, believe it or not. It's like she and I are like mirrors too. Like I'm part of an organization that's a very similar organization to one that she's part of. Hers is called VID, mine is called DID. And we do a lot of the same things. She's Mariama, I'm Mariama. We're both Geminis. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So I was saying all that to say, you can, have all these, similarities or differences. Oh God, I just went blank. I just lost my train of thought. I shouldn't have looked at these other cards. I don't know what made me do that, but I guess this is where the problem is come. We're racking our brain. We're staying up at night, worrying about how we can get something to work. And the universe is saying, again, this is like I was saying, God take the wheel, universe take the wheel. This is like God handing you the cup. So all you got to do, your effort is require you to just put your hand out and accept it. But the universe is going to give it to you. And they're going to show you how to figure this out. Anyway, I was talking about the story about the group. So I'm a Gemini, pardon me. And listen, I'm going to be all over the place. It's going to be worse now. Mercury into Leo don't ask. So this group, starting with home here, which is kind of like another Four of Wands rather. Four of Wands with the Tarot deck, home in this deck, cozy, warm, secure, you feel at home with one another. Behind it is unawakened in reverse, and then the next card is masculine. So this sort of illustrates what I'm talking about here, like the masculine actually, waking up and figuring out who he is, who you are to him, in relation to him and stuff like that. You may be in separation right now though. So again, we were in separation, and I watched this reading, and I don't normally watch readings or read for myself, but I did at this time, by Ascended Stars, who, we later became friends. It was my friend Allie J. She has a channel called Ascended Stars. I watched her Gemini reading, and then when I watched her Gemini reading, I really got the feeling like, oh, like mine is one of the ones that's coming back, right? And then I watched her Scorpio reading, and it was pretty much identical to the Gemini reading, and I just knew it. And from there, once I knew it, like in my heart, in my soul, in my mind, we got observed, we got outcome, somebody's watching you. Posted on my Facebook yesterday that I feel for some of the feminine, there is specifically a woman watching you. I don't know if she's attached to you, like she's related to you, a friend of yours, or a former friend of yours, or, a relative or something to whom you're not speaking, or whatever it is, or who's jealous of you, or if she's attached to your masculine, but there's a woman watching some of you. This would indicate to me that the masculine is also watching some of us, okay? Like peeking in on your social media and stuff, probably because he is realizing that we are soulmates. So I'm not worried. Especially once I see that, I already felt that mine was coming back, but once I saw those two readings, that was like confirmed it for me. And so, I just felt, and this is what we all have to do, like, all the time. I just felt calm. Like I wasn't worried about it. I went about my business. Me and my girlfriend had plans already to go to Atlantic City. I went to Atlantic City. I didn't try to, let me sit home in case he calls or texts or whatever. Like, you have to really let go, surrender, give it to God, give it to the universe, but however you want to put it. So I had done that. We go to Atlantic City, having a good time. I ended up back on Observe here. So behind it is Outcome in reverse. And every time I heard like certain songs while she and I were there, I would say, that he's closer, now he's closer. And I was like, one was like Miguel, I remember. And this is, like I said, like 5 years ago, that this happened. One was Miguel, like Let My Love Adorn You. I don't remember what all the songs were. His ringtone at the time. Sure enough, we were away for a couple of days. When we had like 2 more days to go, he starts blowing up my phone. Like blowing up my phone. And I was supposed to come home Valentine's Day. He was going to come back from Atlantic City, which is a few hours away from me here in New York City. And he called me so much and finally said what he really wanted to say. I mean, he was already being, very romantic on the phone and kind and apologetic and all that kind of stuff. But then he like made it clear, like, I want to spend Valentine's Day with you. Like, come home now. You know, so it was like first thing in the morning. Now I'm trying to run home from there, or run to his house from there. And, you know, we reconnected. I sharing that story because I've been feeling that kind of person in that group. So I thought I about mentioning the group, whose masculine came back. Like they were all just whining, and I really don't think that they were divine feminine. Like I said, I just never felt comfortable in there. Nobody else was seeing like repeating numbers like me. I had been seeing them for decades. I've demonstrated that to some of you. Like I'll show from my Facebook memories from like 13 years ago, where I was already posting 333. My friends all thought I was crazy, just like a wacky hippie. You know, 333, 444. I've been seeing those numbers for years, probably like 15, 20 years. Anyway, this is a new deck. Thankful. My friends and family and viewers have, always been so good to me in terms of providing me with the decks. Cause I'm one of the old school, old fashioned tarot people that doesn't really believe in purchasing your own deck. You know, that was always a rule, like somebody had to gift you the deck or something like that. So this is a new one. What I don't like about it is that the name of the deck came off the box, when I opened it. As you see, it's attached to the cellophane, which is kind of whack. So just, you know, the result was just like a pink box with nothing on it. And I don't like this part either. Made in China. Not that I dislike China, but I get concerned that things are created with using slave labor. And I try very hard not to patronize, those kind of companies. Anyway, I'm struggling to overcome my addictions. I've come a long way, but I still need help. So this may be a reason as to why, masculine has been away. Also upright is everything will be all right. You'll see we just need time and space apart to focus on our goals and dreams. So this is like, sort of, at least for me, like affirming what I was talking about, like the separation and then a need for a return. You are very beautiful and you have no reason to be jealous of my past loves. Maybe there was somebody who felt inadequate by comparison to the karmic or other woman or women or whatever. The next part in reverse, so I'll read that one. Now remember the other thing that I was going to tell y'all, I will stop and tell y'all randomly because that's how I roll. So card most directly representing us this week is the King of Pentacles in reverse. King of Pentacles is also a repeat, like we keep seeing him in my readings over the past few weeks. A lot of earth energy in terms of the masculine. In several different readings, somebody who is particularly generous, or provider type, you know, wants to be able to support, himself, his family, you know, provide a home, as they say. Again, we started with the Four of Wands and that home card. So that's who, the King of Pentacles is. In his surrounding energy, or in our surrounding energy, we have Major Arcana card, Justice, also in reverse. The Hermit is possibly who this King of Pentacles is, also in reverse in work and finance. The Two of Pentacles in love and relationship, which could be about more than one relationship being juggled, or about trying to perhaps juggle work because he wants to be a provider. Maybe that's why he's upside down. He's working very, very hard and just not sure how he's going to do this. Maybe he has an existing relationship that's in his surrounding energy, that represents this Justice in reverse. I was getting a lot of stuff about divorce last week, you know, so this could be that, you know, along those lines too. Justice in reverse and the King of Pentacles in reverse because he's going through something where he needs to separate, or split his income, or he's trying to figure out how I'm going to take care of two families or two different situations or whatever the case. So there could be some indecision, or he may be again married to his job because that wasn't just divorce from a person, but like trying to break away from a situation or circumstance too. So it could be like married to his job and, he's like working so hard that he doesn't necessarily have time for a relationship. So he might be trying to figure out like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get my life together, get my finances together, you know, move into a new home, perhaps maybe move out of the existing home where he is, you know, again, thinking about the Four of Wands and the home card. How am I going to do all that and try to manage a relationship? May involve a Gemini. I've got the Roman numeral 2 on this card as opposed to Just a regular 2, Roman numeral 2, basically looks like the Gemini symbol in the tarot. Also, other air energy, of course, Libra with Justice. We've got the Virgo here with the Hermit, and then we got Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn with the King of Pentacles. Got more Pentacles here, 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Again, there could be some sort of party of 3 situation happening, or third energy that is taking our energy, our focus, our attention this week. This is physical health here. And then we got spiritual health. It is death. Oh, I know one other thing I was going to tell you that the death just reminded me. So again, I was talking about one of my exes. So he was a Scorpio sun and like a Virgo moon or Virgo rising or something. And one of the other beliefs back in the days, there was my belief as well as an individual, having, looked at my own chart and stuff like that, was that a feminine's Jupiter, wherever your Jupiter is located, was likely the sign of your masculine, where one's Jupiter is located. My Jupiter is indeed in Scorpio, and it's the death card, which represents the sign of Scorpio, which reminded me of this. Just sharing it because, not because I'm like telling people my business, but because by sharing a personal story with the information, it can help other people to sort of, it can trigger, maybe a memory, a thought, inspire you to look into it or whatever. So I had always been shown 2 masculine. I've had visions and everything about both of them, include right down to weddings and stuff. Both. But because my Jupiter was in Scorpio, I just was very, as well as one of the reasons why I was just more focused on that one. It also because the other one was less available, right? So this one was a complete bachelor, lived by himself and all that. And other one was back and forth, single at the time, but back and forth, like, relationships and stuff like that. Anyway, so I've just recently learned that my other ex, the other one that I've been shown, for all these years too, and that would fit into my readings. I remember one time I said, oh, this ex could practically show up at your door, and mine ended up calling me from the airport like I'm here, I'm in New York. I had no idea he was coming. So it's even my own readings have come true in my own life with regard to these things. So I recently found out that he is also Jupiter in Scorpio and has a ton of Scorpio in his chart. So for me personally, this is another thing. In addition to the numerology that we have that matches up me and both of these people, I think that this is a way that some of the rest of you can confirm for yourself. Look into the numerology. Look into the astrology. My Neptune is also in Scorpio. So is my exits. So we have so many things, in the 3D. Look into those. All right. So back off of that tangent. Just trying to help people to figure out things in their life, especially since I've been seeing more than one person for, recently in terms of the collective. And I even did a reading the other day with 4 different types of masculine and said you could have more than one of these in your life. Let's get into the meanings of these cards and these placements for us this week. So our overall energy, the 6 of Wands reverse. Again, think about that Ace of Swords that was also, since the Wands upright, think about the Ace of Swords that was in reverse, as well as this 9 of Swords that's immediately behind the 6 of Wands. And also thinking about the feast day today, again, with Mary Magdalene. And the card often reminds me of, Jesus being paraded through Jerusalem, not on a horse, but on a donkey, sort of this way and described in the scriptures, right? In the Christian Bible and things. And, what the message says, and it definitely was true of him, or at least the story of him, that it's a very positive energy and omen this card carries, but it can also indicate that maybe like despite challenges you're having, like he was having challenges, right, to say the least, or at least the way the story goes, or the Ace of Swords can be about challenges, a new beginning coming, but it's difficult getting there, maybe a bunch of stumbling blocks and things on the way, especially in reverse. Again, could be about, delay. Again, like we don't have to figure out for ourselves how to make something work, because we might be in that energy of like, how can it possibly work? Like everything is fucked right now. It doesn't make sense to me. But that's the 3D. And this is sort of like a Jesus take the wheel, or I'm getting that message today from it. Again, it was the reefs that was directing me that way. Reminded me of the Wheel of Fortune, where despite all of that, whatever challenges we're facing and everything, difficulties, we're still going to not only overcome them, but like come out on top. Like the 50 Cent song, the 50 Cent in the Game, hate it or love it, the underdog is on top. So like you were down with the underdog, maybe you were in reverse, but you're still going to end up on top is the biggest message from this card. It's also in the general sense about like happiness and celebration. Again, this guy's on a horse sort of being paraded through. He looks like he's being acknowledged, getting his accolades and things. Similarly, Jesus was paraded through Jerusalem on his donkey. And people were adorning him, before he ultimately met his end shortly after. It says that we're about to see like results for our hard work and our efforts and things that we've, put in. So whether that is, again, energetically, whether that is on yourself, the shadow work, inner work, or actual work at your job, or, physical labor and different work, whatever it is, working out, that you're finally going to, and maybe you hadn't seen results for a long time, and it's like been, it's just been challenging. You're finally going to see results, and so you should be willing to like give yourself a break or treat yourself in some way because you've actually earned it. That lets us know that this is behind us, like literally behind us, this kind of sleepless nights and anxiety and struggle, and maybe having been lied to by somebody. Some of Nine of Swords can be about deceit and cheating and all that kind of stuff, and coming out on top of a situation. In work, it can be very good for you. If you're looking for a job or a new position or something, it can be very positive in terms of something that is better than you'd even like imagine for yourself coming through. Or, your situation at your current job is about to get even better than you would have expected or hoped. Even in the case of where things seem to be challenging recently, your efforts are valued. You should just keep doing what you're doing, keep putting in that work, keep putting that effort. And that may be another reason again for Nine of Swords, for King of Pentacles in reverse. Maybe it has to do with your work, your career, or your lack thereof. And this week, things get better in terms of finances specifically, and not necessarily tied to your work. Things will be going much better for you financially as well, regardless of what's happening like around you. Things are going to be on the like uptick or upswing for you financially. So you should still be careful, prudent, right? In what you do with any increase that you do receive. Don't just like squander it. Particularly these days, like it's important for everyone to be prepared for the rainy day, as they say, right? So, but you expect increase. The same way I expected my masculine to return, expect increase, and things are getting better. Now, this could be also about love. So maybe you should be expecting that too. Love specifically, in a committed relationship, this card can mean that things are looking up. So even in committed relationships, because this is one of the other things actually I wanted to talk to you guys about that I was just seeing that I'm supposed to mention this week. Like normally when you see like the high priestess or whatever, and as you can see, I do consider myself high priestess, and I'm considered by others a high priestess. the high priestess keeps things to herself. Like, she doesn't tell you what she's doing, she doesn't whatever. But there are times where I am shown that I'm meant to share. And I was shown something like that this week, like about sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience, sharing, to help other people. So I'm not being as tight-lipped as, real G's move in silence. And I tend to do just that. But not this week. True. But as far as the way the scriptures are written and this ultimate merge, and these partnerships really coming together, at least based on my interpretation, that has not happened yet. So like, even if you as an individual are with this person, there is, maybe your spiritually based business together or something hasn't taken off yet. Or, you wanted to have a child and that hasn't happened yet. Cause we've also seen that like the Illumined ones were supposed to have children together too. And those are like the true rainbow babies. I mean, I can go and get into a whole bunch of stuff, that I won't. But despite all that, like that we haven't reached the end yet, none of us. Ascension for your relationship as well, this week. And just feeling closer and happier with your partner than before. Again, maybe things were challenging in your relationship before, and those kind of things behind you, or the things that you were dealing with behind you, and you should expect them to be behind you and for things to be better. It's about that. Again, that's why I share that story. It's about saying like, I'm calm now because I know what's coming. I know this is going to be fine. If you're single or unattached, this card can be about, like you being soon to enter a relationship with somebody like of your dreams, or maybe that you've literally been dreaming about. We've got the King of Pentacles as the focus. So this could definitely be, that the reason it's the card that's most dominant in our week is because it's not necessarily about us. It's about the masculine, being the king. So, could be maybe specifically about a Virgo. The Hermit, in terms of relationship, is almost always about an ex, that's returning, trying to rekindle a relationship from the past. Again, with the Pentacles here, so you may be specifically a Virgo, you may be specifically a Gemini or a Libra or vice versa, or a Scorpio. Those are the strongest ones. I mean, obviously it could apply to anybody, but those are the strongest ones. We've got Pentacles, 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 Pentacles. So it looks like Earth energy is definitely involved. Spiritually, this Six of Wands can be about being on the right track, even though we're seeing death in the position of our spiritual health. Just feeling more joyous, and maybe because death is about transition. So you could be moving into a new phase in your spiritual life, could have ended, and you're moving into a brand new energy that is a new beginning. It's going to bring you happiness and joy, spiritually, and just keep you in sort of the spirit of love and happiness in your living, and again, reinforce with you that there's no need for worry, and concern, because you're on the right track, so you can be calm. So you should try to get in touch with that joy and happiness as much as you can, and connect with those energies that are around you. Did I skip anything? Oh, health, physical health. So, the Six of Wands in terms of physical health mean that things are not as bad for you, or maybe the person that you're inquiring about or thinking about. Their health, your health isn't as bad. Again, spiritual strength that will provide life sustenance to you. So again, that feeling of calm and being okay, and sort of trusting that your health with somebody else close to you, the health of the person that you're asking about, will be sustained, and everything's going to be fine. You can be calm, like I keep saying. King of Pentacles in reverse can be about being like overly caught up with the material, and maybe that's why you're working so hard. Or again, if this is the masculine, why he's working so hard, why he's just really, really trying to like get money, because he feels that that's like what his worth is based, or you feel as if that is on what your worth is based, which is of course untrue. I want you to know that that's untrue. But we just like sort of identify ourselves by like our outer accomplishments without recognize that who we are inside is of the most value, right? Basically it says that no matter what happens in your life, when this card shows up, it's important to know that your happiness and success is not built on like any one event or one thing that you own or one person that you know or any of that. It's, this is a time to like very consciously work on keeping your attitude positive. And I talked about this last week too, even though we didn't have the King of Pentacles last week. I was saying it's in one of the things that you have to do. And I was speaking specifically to the masculine. I think it was when I was doing advice cards. One of the things specifically that you have to do, the kind of effort that you need to put in, is to remind yourself that you're worthy of love. In work, this card is a reminder that all we can do as human beings, like, is put our best foot forward. You know, sometimes we're going to be enormously successful when we do that, and sometimes we're not. But that's the best we can do is the best we can do. You can't do any more than that, right? So, keep that in mind. Also, again, keep in mind that your work or your money or your stuff that, you know, that your money affords you to buy, isn't the most important thing in your life. And this is demonstrating, you know, the same kind of person that I described before when I was talking about the King of Pentacles upright. You know, it's somebody who is, often like established, hardworking. You know, they've otherwise, in terms of how they're looking at themselves. And that's going to be the truth in work too. Like, you do the best you can and you can't do anymore. And you also got to remember that, like, work isn't all there is to your life, right? And so you might need to prioritize some other stuff too, not just your work. There can also be a message that some people cannot be perhaps, this is one of the things that's coming through. So obviously it's not going to be for everybody, but some of you masculine, who is interested in you because you're established, because you're a provider, because of, you know, status or money and what you can buy and what you can do. So, you know, you're never going to be able to have enough. You're always going to be going on and on and on and, you know, working yourself to death to try to make this person happy. And they're not going to be happy. You know, like Prince said, maybe just like my mother, she's never satisfied. Think very long term and to not sort of, identify yourself or, identifies yourself is not the right word, but like, don't only view yourself as based on your short-term situations, maybe a short-term downturn in your finances or something like that is not the way to view yourself. You got to look, everything needs to be long-term. I'm planning for the future. You know, whatever that entails. So I'm making investments. I'm trying to get a promotion. I'm trying to transfer, whatever the situation is for you. And if something's not working out right now, you're having challenges at work right now, don't let that define you. That's the word I was trying to look for. Some financial challenges right now, or you had some recently. You know, these are things that happen to everybody. It's all relative. Now, even somebody that's rich, think about Trump, for example, right? He at one point was having to file bankruptcy on all the stuff he owned, all the properties in Atlantic City. Talked about Atlantic City earlier. That didn't mean he was broke. Like this, it's all relative. Whatever level you're at, we all face some kind of financial challenges. Even, you know, among the rich, it happens to them too. In love, somebody you care about, maybe your mate, your prospective mate, your love interest, may be having difficulties right now in their love and relationships because of financial challenges and or something that they're dealing with at work, or again, their need to work a lot. And this would be reinforced by the Two of Pentacles, which is crossing this King of Pentacles in reverse, because again, this is about lacking balance and not prioritizing everything in your life equally. Yes, work is important. Yes, finances are important, but again, money's a tool and your relationships are important also. So we got to figure out, and yourself, your personal time and break and all that is important too. So we got to figure out how to do both, how to do all. Or again, maybe you're trying to juggle more than one relationship and it's like, how can I pay for all of these things. That's affecting your love life too. Or, how can I pay to take care of 2 women or 2 men or whatever? So if this is not you and it's somebody you care about and you have the opportunity, you should, our task this week is to help them to remember that their value goes far beyond what they do or how much they make or how much they have or what they may be going through, their experiences and all that. Just the same way I was saying before that there's somebody who you only mean something to because of what you can provide. There are people who will love you for who you are inside and not care about what you can provide or pick up the slack when you're unable or whatever it is. And then of course that's the real one. That's the real situation. That's a real friend. That's a real, husband, a real wife. That, a real loving, caring family member or friend who's going to get you back when you're down. There's a 50 Cent song like that too. I don't know why I keep being reminded about 50 Cent. It's funny because his name is associated with money, right? And finances, they change, at least. But he had a song about, 21 questions. And he was asking, like, if I was broke, would you still love me? Would you still care about me? There's going to be somebody who, for whom the answer to that is yes. And even if that's the case now, and you are, broke, I don't like to claim words like that, but, that is how you're feeling. And you are, associating with that. And it is that I'm going to be this. And then you manifest that, focus on that. Keep your eye on that goal. And an earth sign is very good at that, at making a plan and seeing it through, right? The Knight of Pentacles, for example, is the only knight, that is said to be guaranteed to reach his goal, who works in a financial field. So you might need a masculine in the financial field, or again, this could be you. And or someone with whom there's an income disparity. Now, I would say the King of Pentacles is probably the one who earns more monies, but it's possible that you earn less than this other person. And you shouldn't get hung up about that, especially if it is like a gender thing, as opposed to archetypes, right? In masculine and feminine, if it is a man earning less than a woman that you meet, don't get hung up in that and let finances again to affect your love life in that way. Because again, there will be somebody who will love you for you despite whether or not you earn more money than them. With physical health, this card is about facing, any situations you have, being open to venting about negative feelings and things that are bothering you and sort of getting that out. And watching any thoughts, negative thoughts about yourself, your tendency to think of yourself as a failure, a fuck up, somebody who ruined everything, just because you haven't necessarily met, certain goals that you set for yourself or that you thought you would have by a certain time or whatever the case is. And your health improves as a result of that. And then, in terms of spirituality, the card can be saying that you're again placing too much emphasis, and for too long on your financial security, on your material wealth and things that you have. And again, who you are as a person, as a human being, has very little to do with what you do for a living, how much money you earn, what kind of car you drive, what kind of stuff you have. We should get through these other placements a little quicker. I wanted to go through each aspect of life with the overall energy, and with this card that most directly is the major focus this week. And I don't know why I wanted to, but I did want it to. So now I'm going to focus on the placements, to the extent that they allow me to, and I'm able. Justice in reverse, justice in general is about karma and or dharma, and the laws of cause and effect and balance and the scales evening out. At some point they have to come back into balance. And with justice in reverse, we can be feeling or somebody in your surrounding energy, close friend, family member, co-worker, and you are impacted somehow, even if it's in the most minute way, because again, they look at you as the person to lean on, or you may be more involved than that, in this situation or impacted somehow. But something involving, again, close friend, family member, co-worker, love interest, mate, something happening down the job or something like one of these seventh house, one-on-one sort of kind of relationships, unfair. Like the scales are out of whack. They're out of balance. You shouldn't be dealing with this. You should be getting dharma, not karma, because you're a good person and you've done the great deal that you can do about things not necessarily going how you want right now. So it's more important to sort of accept reality and not get too funky about it. So try to, again, still remain calm based on the other cards and energies that are around us. And also remembering again that this is temporary. And our goal this week, our major focus is thinking long term, right? So this is short term. This is temporary. It's going to be a come and go, a fleeting energy, right? I will say though, in love, so again, where it's connected to your mate or love interest, it guides us to look at the balance in our relationships and sort of like what we bring or have brought to the table or not for, situations for which we are responsible and we need to, accept as good as well as fairly, as in hindsight you wish you had. And you might be trying to figure out, how can I, again, because it's about a relationship being rekindled from the past, how can I return? How can I go back? What am I going to do? I'm having trouble figuring out what to do, how to address this with the Two of Pentacles. And again, with the Three of Pentacles here, this could be about a party of three. This whole situation could be about a party of three. So with Death sitting next to the Three of Pentacles, how you resolve it, how you decide to resolve it, may be by ending one of the, ending that extra situation, whatever the extra situation is, and then, having a new beginning, fresh energy, fresh start for you and the remaining energy. But specific to work, the Hermit in reverse can mean that some things we've been dealing with, challenges we've been dealing with at work. So again, Nine of Swords, Ace of Swords in reverse, King of Pentacles in reverse. We've been dealing with situations. They've been just really bothering us, troubling us, keeping us up at night. We can't sleep. Or we've been unclear about like what's happening, where we stand or whatever in the work situation. These things, we're finally getting to the bottom of these kind of issues, but like, of yourself too, again, have I contributed to whatever? Is there something I could do differently? And again, just remaining conscious of the fact that, like current issues, I can solve them just by changing your behavior. Okay, that's the thought. In terms of maybe like analysis, financial analysis, or so where your finances stand, or to ask for some sort of support or input on a financial endeavor that you're considering, that you're going into business or something. It's not really the best time to sort of like fly blind and not have information and just jump in. There's research. Again, the Hermit for me can be like a professor or a lawyer you may or may not be getting into, where your money comes from and where it's going, how to invest, and so on. Definitely like an excellent and important time to educate yourself on your finances, or your financial picture. In terms of love and relationship, the Two of Pentacles, if you're currently in a relationship or trying to be in one, you got a love interest, you're trying to make something work with somebody, again, maybe your ex, you and or them may be having trouble finding time and energy for each other, which again is not good, right? We got to prioritize ourselves. So we got to need to make sure that our relationship remains like high on our priority list. You might be saying, how? I have work. Again, maybe there's something that maybe you're doing too much in terms of work, or trying to have too much and have too much, like you're too overly focused on material is very possibly the case. And you need to balance your energy and your time with also your relationships. If you're single and looking, then we got to be careful about telling ourselves that we're ready to have a relationship if we're not ready to have a relationship. Like if we have been single for a while, so we've decided to dive into our work and to commit a lot of time to that, then we don't, we haven't carved out a space in our life for another person, then we shouldn't lie to ourselves and saying, that we're ready for a relationship or we want a relationship, if we're really not. And we don't have to, be perfect first, but we do have to be willing to create time, space, energy to put into that relationship or into romance or however you want to word it. Three of Pentacles in reverse can be about the need for moderation. Maybe we're trying to do too much. It can have to do even with a relationship. And like the scenario I was seeing before, we're trying to have more than one relationship. We're trying to have, relationships with 2 other people, 3 other people, whatever it is. That could be affecting our health in terms of we're doing too much. We're overdoing things and we're trying to split our time too much. And that may be, again, why one person has to go. Whether that means you enter separation with somebody, but again, I felt the separation was already happening. So for some people who are in a third party, situation, if it's like another relationship or whatever's taking their attention, I think a bunch of people have done, a bunch of these masculine in particular, have done a be extra thing that's going to free up their time and ability to better balance, their love life with you. But more specific to health, again, if you're, feeling like you need rest, again, 9 of Swords, that you're not your full self, you're feeling weak, you're feeling, sort of down, and, you think you need to go to the doctor, then go to the doctor. But it could just be that you are overly tired because you've been trying to do too much. And this may be a troublesome time for you, an upsetting time for you, but it's important to remember that the energy is temporary. This too shall pass. It's also a good time for you to just really focus on a positive attitude, as is the case again with the 6 of Wands, with the King of Pentacles. So a lot of these messages repeating themselves about the way we need to approach our lives and our own energy, and maybe the energy by which we allow ourselves to be surrounded this week. No negative Nancy's, positive, positive, positive thinking, believing, claiming. I'm calm because I know what's coming to pass. I know what I've planned. I know what I've manifested. I know what I've been shown, whatever. Whatever the case is for you, whatever applies. All right, so let's look at some of the other cards now. What else I want to tell you about this weekend? I'm probably not going to, I spent so much time talking about the 2 cards. I'm probably not going to go into what's on the calendar too much, but I do this. Well, it's a new moon in Leo this week. I'll do a separate moon reading, on the Christian calendar. I don't think there's anything on the Islamic or the Hebrew. On the Christian calendar, the 25th, so then the reading starts the 24th this week. The next day, the 25th, is the feast day of St. James the Greater. So that would be the apostle. And he, like the other apostles, was a martyr. He is the James that wrote, the book. Oh, goodness. Of course, that's way too many. The book of, James, or the epistle. What else do we need to know about him? He's also said to have, look, we've got transformation, so he'll have another death here. And the twin flame cards, breakthrough, reinvention, you're ready for the next level. Also at the bottom, perception. So then changing your view of things, not looking at everything so dire, not looking at the negative, not focusing on the negative, but rather your glasses half full, as opposed to half empty. So changing our perception. I'm just going to pull, 6 of these cards, and tell you what they say. So we need 2 more. What else about James? He, that just flew out. And it flew out and hit the Hermit card and knocked it down. And look what it is, memories. So again, a person from your past. Oh, look what's here at the bottom, mirroring, reflection, twin, wholeness, synchronicity abounds. That touches on what I was talking about, like even down to the natal chart. There could be commonality, numerology in terms of your birth dates, all kinds of stuff that I've found to be true, with not just one person, but two in my life. The two that I was ever shown as like, and I remember when I first realized that they were supposed to be something particularly special to me, and I would say, but like, why two? Like, everybody else has one. Like, what? And it's sort of taken me a while, or it had taken me a while to understand. And I get it now, though. So then winter is showing up. I don't think that necessarily means winter. It can be about somebody being, maybe cold, closed off. It can be about the solitude. It can be about separation, perhaps while they work on this inner child issue. So that's the overall energy here. I'll just go ahead and take these now, too. So James is, one of the things he's most famous for is having, cured a man that was paralyzed in the scriptures. And he had a very close relationship with, Mary, Jesus' mother, brother of John. They called them the Sons of Thunder, James and John. And, he's the only one whose martyrdom is discussed or described in the New Testament. So that's James. I'm sure there's other stuff I should be telling you about James. I don't remember off the top of my head of what he is the patron saint. I do have it in my laptop, of course, but just in case I don't get to that, I wanted to tell you. The next day after that, the 26th, 1, 2, so I want 4 more of these. The 26th is the feast day of Mary's parents, Joaquin and Anne. And they, of course, are of the fame of, telling God, promising the universe, if you give us a child at our very old age, because Anne, had already gone through menopause or whatever, we promised that we will give her to the church. And that's what they did. And did become pregnant. Again, very up in age. And when Mary was 3, they took her to basically like a convent and left her there. That might be all 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Okay. So first, from these cards here, the secret messages from the heart that I was recently gifted. You and I have run our course. I'm sorry, but the answer is no.